Tonight's true scary story is one of the scariest stories that I have ever told. It's also one of the most horrible stories that I have ever told. There's a trigger warning for SA, torture, and violence. Please keep this in mind before watching this video. I told a short version of this on my TT, and I'm telling a long version here. This story is about a girl who was tortured in hell for 2 days because her uncle sacrificed her soul to the devil so that he didn't have to go to hell. And for those of you who might say you can't sell someone else's soul to the devil, this is what happened to her. She experienced this, so remember that, please. So tonight's submitter's name is Destiny, and when Destiny was a kid, she was a pretty sick kid. She was in and out of the hospitals a lot, and so was her grandmother. And unfortunately, at the hospital, her grandmother passed away in her arms. Her uncle, who we're gonna call Ted, was a Satanist, a rapist, and a molester, and he now rots in jail. Good. So when her grandmother passed away in her arms, they were both admitted to the hospital at that point. About a week later, she was released from the hospital and she went to her grandfather's house, which lived next door to her house, and she went there with her brother. They were 4 and 7 years old. Well, while they were at their grandfather's house, their grandfather was like, "You need to go home because I have to leave for band practice." But they begged him to stay, and he had to leave, he had to go, so he caved, and he was like, "Listen, you can stay, but do not come out of my room under any circumstances." Well, they were 4 and 7 years old, so they did not listen to these instructions, and they wanted to watch a movie and they wanted snacks. So they went to the kitchen, and her brother grabbed a chair, pulled it up to the fridge, he stepped on it and reached for a bag of chips. While he's doing this, Destiny starts to get this really bad feeling wash over her, and her brother looks back at her and goes, "What's wrong?" And as soon as he does this, she sees a large red hand with super sharp nails just go on the window. Now, her brother hears it, she sees it, and they bolt out of that house and go home. Now, this was the start of a very dark time for her. The following day, a lot of strange things started happening to her. She'd see shadow figures and dark, tall figures that would follow her around. Now, unfortunately, they had to move into their grandfather's house. I'm not sure why, but they moved in there, and their uncle Ted lived there. He lived in one room, and their grandfather lived in another room. So they had to stay in the storage room. And the storage room had these old church benches, and apparently they were comfortable enough to sleep on because that's what they slept on. Now, she slept on a bench that was furthest away from everybody, and it was closest to the music room. They always joked about this being haunted by a little girl, but nothing ever came of it, so they just left it alone. Now, while she would sleep on this bench at night, she would wake up to someone touching her feet, and then she would feel these nails digging into her arms, and she would look, but there would be nothing there in either places. Now, one night she was sleeping, and she feels this. She feels the nails digging into her skin. It feels like someone is ripping into her skin. She can genuinely feel it, and she cannot wake up. No matter what, she is like stuck in her sleep. And then one night she's sleeping and she's having this horrible dream. She has these dreams that these entities, these demons, are surrounding her. They start to circle in and close into her, and then she just hears the words, "Now." And then she just watched as all the demons started smiling and just getting closer and closer to her until they couldn't anymore. It started out with just light touches that she could feel that would wake her up. And then it turned into nails again, digging and ripping into her skin. They carved and scratched all night, and all she could do was scream and shake her head. They would talk amongst each other in a language that she didn't know, and then like clockwork, they would just stop. She finally woke up, and when she woke up, her mom was standing over her with this horrified look on her face because those scratches were actually on her skin. She had bruises and cuts all over her, and names were carved into her skin. They take her to the hospital, and the hospital tells their mom and her that she probably did it to herself, and they just pass it off as depression and psychosis, saying she probably just imagined those things doing it to her when she was really doing it to herself. They then asked her family if they wanted them to put her into a psych ward or a mental hospital, and her family said no. Then she gets home, and these scratches and bruises just disappear in a matter of hours. It went on like this for weeks. They could not understand what was happening to her. She didn't want to go to sleep. She was scared to go to sleep, but it was like she was forced into her sleep, like someone was making her go to sleep. She started to look into witchcraft and rituals to try to find out what was happening to her. Now, at this time, she did not know that her Uncle Ted was a Satanist, but she did find a forum that was explaining exactly the things that were happening to her. The forum described what was happening to her as a satanic ritual used to torture the person to get what you want. kind of like a trade. Satan and his demons have some fun and you get what you ask for without having to sell your soul. So like someone else had done this. It turns out that Ted was using her, because when Ted was speaking to Satan, apparently Satan told him that when he saw her through the window, when he scratched the window in the beginning, that he wanted her for himself. Now I'm assuming if this was the case, that Satan was there because Ted was doing rituals in that house. So Ted agreed and let Satan abuse her for whatever he wanted, which was apparently to save his soul because he was a rapist. The dreams were constant every night, but she started to see the demons as they were. She started to see them manifest. They were no longer just shadowy figures. She could see these demons' faces. Some had multiple, but one of them was distinct and he was taller than the others, bigger in every single way. The others would just smile while he would just stare at her so aggressively. She figured that this one was Satan. Well, a few years later, when she was in 8th grade, she decided that she was going to have a sleepover with her friend named Jasmine and a friend named Sam, and she was going to go over to Sam's house with Jasmine to have this sleepover. So at this sleepover, they did like, you know, general girl stuff. So they did makeup, talked about girls they didn't like, talked about boys. They watched the movie Titanic and then cried themselves to sleep. The next morning, everything was fine. Jasmine and Sam woke up. The only problem was Destiny did not wake up. So her family takes her to the hospital naturally, and they find out that she's in a coma. But from what? The only thing is that her family thinks she's in a coma, right? And she may be, but she can hear everything that's going on around her. She can hear the hospital. She can hear the doctors in the hospital. She can hear her family talking around her. She is well aware of what's going on. And she is also in a place of pure hell. She was again laying on a cold floor, but she couldn't run away. There was no escape. These things would run on all fours to catch her, and then they would bite her and scratch her. Satan used his nail to carve into her skin, "She's mine." They also carved their names into her skin, the other demons. And remember, she can feel all of this. It's excruciatingly painful. And the worst part is, she can hear her grandmother and grandfather praying for her with preachers all around her. And the more they did it, the worse it got. And she could not pass out from the pain. They wouldn't allow her to. Normally, when a human being experiences an excruciating amount of pain, they pass out. But in her case, she wasn't passing out. She wasn't allowed to. Satan and the demons would not allow her to pass out from the excruciating pain she was experiencing. All of the demons had extremely long fingers and super sharp nails, like extremely sharp. As for the faces, they all looked different. Satan was huge. He had hooves for feet. His face was scrunched up like an old man's. He had pointy ears. So he would look something like this. Oh, can you imagine? He was either on all fours, watching, or standing up, giving demands. His skin was red. He had black stiletto nails, but he would change. He could change into a human, an animal, whatever he wanted. He never looked the same, whether it was his skin or his face. She just remembers that the version that I told you he looked like earlier is what he looked like the most. Another demon was a shapeshifter, and its favorite thing to do was to shapeshift into her own family members, and he looked exactly like them. The only difference was his eyes. Those eyes, they were so soulless. Another one was a black demon, kind of like a shadow, extremely long, sharp nails like the rest. Teeth that were rotten, but so sharp and strong. He had no facial features, but his eyes were the color of blood, such a deep, dark red. You could see when he'd move his face through his mouth and his eyes. One of the last ones was an old lady, and she was always around, especially in her dreams previously. Her mouth was gaped open. She had no teeth. It was just a dark hole. Her face would look something like this. Her eyes were so wide she didn't blink. Her tongue was so long and pointed. She'd lick the blood off of Destiny's skin and tell her how good it was and that she was never gonna leave that place. She was also so tall and skinny, and she wore this raggedy, torn up dress. Her feet looked like she was wearing stilettos, but the stilettos were missing. Like her feet were just permanently like this. Her hands were so long and scrawny, and so were her fingernails. Her fingernails were even sharper and longer. She would hunch over and whisper in her ear, "You're never gonna leave. You're ours." The torture, it lasted for 2 days, but it felt like it lasted forever. The preachers even told her parents to give up, but they wouldn't. They didn't. Eventually, she does wake up, thank God. But when she does, she's absolutely hysterical. She's screaming and crying. She didn't know what else to do. She was yelling at everyone not to touch her, telling everyone to get away. It took years for her to get back to normal, but she did it. But she will always remember it. Then her family ended up showing her the movie Insidious and asked her, is this what you went through? And she said, this is the closest replication of what I experienced that I have seen. The supernatural and dark stuff never stopped, but at least it wasn't those dreams anymore. Her uncle then went to prison for raping her mom, her older sister, her brother, and her baby sister. And that was when the dreams stopped, is when he went to prison. That story is so horrific in so many different ways. I don't even know what to think about it. What do you guys think happened here? Like, I think that her getting sexually assaulted did happen before all of this stuff happened. And so I think that maybe whatever happened, other people on TT suggested that when he did that to them, and especially to her, it kind of like solidified the deal that he made with the devil. But I don't know anything about that or how that works, so maybe you guys can give some insight in the comments. She did say that you could see all of the cuts and bruises that were appearing on her as she was laying in the hospital bed. So as all of this was going on, her family could see all of these cuts and bruises appearing on her body. And that's why they had all those preachers there and like they were praying over her, because they obviously knew something was not right. Something crazy was going on here. And the fact that she even went into a coma for no reason is baffling to me. How does that even happen? And to go to hell when you're in a coma and to be able to hear your family around you praying for you and like knowing they're that close to you, you're that close to help, but that the praying is making it worse is so sickening to me. I can't even fathom it. I also just want to say that what happened to you, Destiny, and your family with your uncle is horrifying, and I am so incredibly sorry that you experienced that. That is some of the worst trauma that a person can go through, and the fact that he did that to multiple family members is horrific, and I genuinely just hope that he gets what he deserves. If he's in prison right now, he likely is. So please drop your comments, opinions, thoughts in the comments. I just ask that you show her respect, please. She has been through a lot, so like regardless of your belief system or not, please keep in mind that she was sexually assaulted, and so think of the trauma that she went through. So before you say anything mean, which a lot of times people don't do that on YouTube, just think about that, please. Destiny, I wish you nothing but healing, love, support, and happiness, girl, and your whole entire family and everyone that experienced that same thing. I will pray for you. So much love to you. I'm so sorry again that you experienced this. And with that being said, now on a lighter note, I am going to go into my favorite part, which is the shout outs. My first shout out is going to Mike Capel F9S. You left the sweetest comment ever. Thank you so much. You have no idea what that meant to me. It meant so much to me. You are so kind for what you said. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for just being a part of my little community. And thank you for being kind. It means the whole entire world to me that people like you support me. And I would not have this channel without people like you. And people like you make my day. So thank you so much. I love you. My second shout out is going to Kayla Jones 6768. You also left such a sweet comment. I'm so glad that you like my videos. Thank you for telling me that, girl. Like, when I get these comments, I'm like, it makes me so giddy. You have no idea. Your support means the world to me. The fact that you are kind means the world to me. You have no idea. And I see you commenting, girl, and I appreciate you. Like, thank you for pushing my videos out, and thank you for just, you know, being a part of this community as well. I appreciate you. I love you. And my name is Kaisa, and I tell true scary stories on here every 3 nights that you guys submit to me. So if you're into that, hit that subscribe button so you can get notified the next time I tell a true scary story. If you could also smash that like button for me, it just really helps push my videos out. I would really appreciate that, but only if you appreciate my work. And I just need you to do 3 things for me. And what are those? Please send me your scary stories, YouTube. Stay safe. And what's the 3rd one? Say it with me. Have a spooky night. Love you guys. See you in the next one. Spooky kisses and haunted hugs.